So last week when I was in California, I did some running Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I was getting ready for this marathon that I wanted to run this weekend. And ultimately, something happened to my left knee. And I've been hobbling ever since that, whether I tore a meniscus or who knows what other series of things somebody my age ultimately could have done. But this week when I got into the office, I've been hobbling around. Now I've got this brace on my knee, which is making me hobble around a little bit more, and it's really pronounced at the end of the day. And here in my office, I actually use this Veridesk setup, so I'm standing all the time. So I'm not sitting on my butt, but ultimately, it just irritates the knee even more. So I had one of our new members come up and ask me what was going on, and I said, I messed up my knee when I was running last week and ultimately have some fluid around it and so forth. And then immediately I found myself going into this description of, well, I did this to my other knee a few years ago and ultimately had to have the surgery to have the torn meniscus fixed and so forth. And from that, I immediately bounced into 20 years ago. I was trying to move a boat and I blew discs in my back, and it just seemed like I kept going on with the story. And what was interesting is the reality of this is there's kind of three different stages in our lives. There's the past, there's the present, and there's the future. And we have this tendency to default to the feelings from our past. So I kept going into the story of what happened 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, as opposed to just dealing with the facts of where I am now. And I'll come back to that here in a second. So we got the feelings of the past, or we talk about the fantasy of the future. Yeah, I want to get to a point. So next year, I told somebody today, I want to be able to do an Ironman. In the condition that I am right now, you can't see my knee. I'm not doing an Ironman anytime soon because I can't even run the 13 miles that I wanted to run this weekend because the damn knee doesn't work. So it's interesting as you talk to people, and myself included in this, is that we have a tendency to deal with our past. If you think about people that are always living in the past and the hardships they've had and the stories they tell themselves on, my parents were this, my situation was this, I grew up in a really bad neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. Let's live in the past. And then you've got others that are always living in the fantasy of the future. I'm going to be a millionaire someday. Great. What are you making today? Well, I'm unemployed. I'm not making any money. What we've got to understand is there's a point where you've got to let go of the past and the stories that you've told yourself. You've got to be realistic about the goals of the future. And the only way to do that is to be real about where you are right now. Taking a look at the present value of my knee, which right now isn't really valuable to me, unfortunately, because it's not working. Understanding the facts of where I am today, then and only then can I have a plan of where I want to go in the future. Dwelling in the past, always bringing up the past like I did today, and I know better than this, and I continue to do it, is not going to help me. But dealing with where I am today, dealing with the fact that I haven't gone to the doctor after whining about this thing for a week now, right? And I probably won't get into the doctor now till next week, as I just had my assistant a few minutes ago call the office to get it taken care of. There is no point in making plans for the future, business, in health, and being able to do an Ironman or anything else, unless you could really take a step back from where you were, from where you want to go, and be real about where you are today in every area of life, in your body, ultimately in your faith, in your relationships, in your business. I want to be a $25 million business. Where are you today? I'm at $500,000. It's great to have that goal, but is it really achievable unless you really understand where you are today? Where are you at in each part of your life, in body, in being, in balance, and in business? Can you deal with the facts, write down the facts of each of those areas, and ultimately deal with the feelings separate? But separate yourself from those feelings and really get true on where you are. Stop lying about where you're starting from. Stop living in the past and stop living in the hope of the future until you figure out where are you today. Now you can take a step forward.